Good morning. This is Fellowship of Spirit coming to you from Farmington, New Mexico. It is May 18th, or what, 19th. And we are happy to be here and to be able to present this spiritual messages to you from Fellowship of Spirit. We're glad that you're with us and hope that you will enjoy it. Susan Barnes is going to be our prayer to pray for us. Fred Brown is going to play music and also give us our spiritual message. Is that correct, Fred?
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to get a double helping of Fred today.
Right. Infotainment.
Fred's double dipping.
There you go. So,
We're double
and who's doing the spiritual reading? Kate is going to do our spiritual reading. And so we're going to start with our prelude and just sit back and enjoy, let the music wash over you and relax you and get you receptive to be with us today. Here's Fred Brown.
We were born for the wind, also younger than the sun. If the body boat was one, we sailed through the mystic. Hark now hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly out into the mystic. And when that foghorn blows, I'll be coming home. And when that foghorn blows, you can hear it, don't wanna fear it. Oh, and then the silly will go on to the mistake. Come on. Yeah. When I fall home with some boats, I'll be coming home. Yeah. When I fall home with some boats, I can hear it, don't wanna fear it. I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like them days of old. Mississippi we will flow into the mystic. Come on, girl. Yeah. Whoa, into the mystic. That foghorn whistle blows, I'll be coming home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I can hear it. Oh, I won't fear it. I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like those days of old. Yeah. We will flow out into the mystic. Come on, girl.
by Van Morrison of the Doors. And,
No, just Van Morrison,
just
not
Van
Jim Morrison.
Oh, Van Morrison.
An
That's
Irishman
a
instead
whole
of a New
different,
Yorker.
a whole different fellow. Oh, well. That's the first mistake I made all day. All right.
It happens.
As far as for announcements and things, do you have anything?
No, just remember our solstice picnic coming up, and just because the most important people are right here, what do we want to have? Do we want hamburgers or do we want barbecue this time? Something different, what do you want?
Well, barbecue, never have had that. Usually
We've
it
never
is
had
hamburgers.
barbecue.
Cool.
You mean catered barbecue, like we're gonna cook it, or we're gonna buy
Yeah, oh
some?
no, we're not cooking it.
Buy some from spare rib or something?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yep.
Sounds
Okay,
really
We'll do
good.
the sides,
Pardon?
and we'll do the sides,
Okay,
just get the
sure.
barbecue from them, and, yeah, I can bring onions and pickles and the bread.
Rest of it just be
Potato
potluck.
salad still
Yeah.
goes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, everybody else can bring like potato salad and baked beans and whatever else, and we'll bring dessert.
That sounds good.
Okay, all right, I'll have Christine.
That sounds good. That's about a month from now, so
Yeah, it is.
it's, we're gonna get ready for solstice, and, we're gonna have a
Okay,
party in the park, and it sounds like we're gonna have barbecue and all the fixing, and it's gonna be good. So, right, so now we're gonna ask Susan Barnes who has a new vision on life, here, to pray for us.
Good morning. It's so nice to be here with you. So if we would take a deep breath, let it all out, all the worries, all the cares. Close your eyes and just feel the love. Be aware of that incredible energy that flows from one to the other. Mother, Father, God, we give thanks for this day, for all of the great opportunities that come our way. And we are aware that some of our opportunities may not be comfortable or things that we think we like. And yet we know that they are guiding us and leading us to a deeper understanding, to great lessons, to a new way of perceiving all the things that are around us, all the situations, all the people. We give thanks for all the blessings that you have given to us, the blessings of health, abundance, of all the great friends that we have around us. We give thanks for this opportunity to be free to pursue this way of thinking, of living, one where we can extend our love to each and every person that we meet. We ask that you be with all of those that are in this fellowship, whether they are present or not, for all the ones they love and care for all those who are in need of physical health related issues, knowing that the outcome, even in death, the outcome is always one that is positive and for the highest good of all concerned. For all of this, we give thanks, and especially for the ability to hold our hands at the end of this service and one in a circle filled with love. For this we give thanks. Oh, namaste.
Thank you, thank you.
Ron, with Margaret here, do we want to ask her about Carol, since I didn't remember
Yes.
exactly?
I will.
Margaret, do you remember what Carol told you? That the doctor was a friend of hers up in,
Oh, yes. She has a daughter named Sandy, I think, who is a professor at a university near Seattle. And so Sandy was talking to a friend of hers, telling her about her mother's situation with the ovarian cancer. And the friend said, well, you remember, don't you, that my dad is a surgeon? And so the surgeon contacted, there's a women's, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a hospital that takes care of women with cancer in Albuquerque. And he arranged for her to be admitted there. She's going Wednesday, and he chose the very best surgeon that he knew there to work with her to do the surgery.
Wow.
So as I understand it, she has tumors in both ovaries, and one is as big as a grapefruit. And it has not spread yet. But the surgeon said, we really need to take care of this now. So she'll be there Wednesday, and I don't know when the surgery is scheduled, but probably soon after that.
So she'll be going to near Seattle.
No, Albuquerque.
I can't what you're
Albuquerque,
saying, I'm
okay.
sorry.
It's in Albuquerque, the surgery and everything,
It's
the
in
doctors and
Albuquerque,
everything's in
yes.
surgery. Surgery's in
The
Albuquerque.
women's group is in Albuquerque, the women's, I don't remember what she called it either, but it was a women's cancer.
A clinic. Yeah, okay, great. Well, things are, in a dark time, that things are looking good for our sister Carol. And that is really, really good. So she is gonna be going into surgery soon. And so she absolutely needs all of our prayers and our good thoughts and wishes heading her way. So,
Yeah, that hospital has a pink ribbon on the side of it. I've seen it on the highway, on the freeway.
It's
Or it did.
something to know that there's no place in Farmington, nobody, no doctor who handles women's cancer issues. So people have to go to either Durango or Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And we have a great cancer center here, but it's not for women's internal, stuff like that.
so anyway, okay. So now we have, thank you, Margaret, for that information. We appreciate it. It's for our sister Carol Littletree. And so now we're gonna have another song, Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the rush of angels wing. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God in this place.
Thank you, Fred. All right. Really good one.
It's a waltz.
Yeah. Okay. Let us do our reflected motion now. Love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever. and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. Okay, and Kate is going to come forward and give us a spiritual reading. There we go. Great.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm reading from Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. Happiness as a role versus true happiness. How are you? Just great. Couldn't be better. True or false? In many cases, happiness is a role people play, and behind the smiling facade, there is a great deal of pain. Depression, breakdowns, and overreactions are common when unhappiness is covered up behind a smiling exterior and brilliant white teeth, when there is denial, sometimes even to oneself, that there is much unhappiness. Just fine is a role the ego plays more commonly in America than in certain other countries, where being and looking miserable is almost the norm, and therefore more socially acceptable. It is probably an exaggeration, but I am told that in the capital of one Nordic country, you run the risk of being arrested for drunken behavior if you smile at strangers in the street. If there is unhappiness in you, first you need to acknowledge that it is there. But don't say, I'm unhappy. Unhappiness has nothing to do with who you are. Say, there is unhappiness in me. Then investigate it. A situation you find yourself in may have something to do with it. Action may be required to change the situation or remove yourself from it. If there is nothing you can do, face what is and say, well, right now this is how it is. I can either accept it or make myself miserable. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Be aware of the thoughts you are thinking. Separate them from the situation, which is always neutral, which it always is as it is. There is the situation or the fact, and here are my thoughts about it. Instead of making up stories, stay with the facts. For example, I am ruined is a story. It limits you and prevents you from taking effective action. I have 50 cents left in my bank account is a fact. Facing facts is always empowering. Be aware that what you think, to a large extent, creates the emotions that you feel. See the link between your thinking and your emotions. Rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them. Don't seek happiness. If you seek it, you won't find it, because seeking is the antithesis of happiness. Happiness is ever elusive, but freedom from unhappiness is attainable now, by facing what is rather than making up stories about it. Unhappiness covers up your natural state of well-being and inner peace, the source of true happiness. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you. Good message. Thank you very much, Kate. Okay, and so now we have another song. Please. Thank you.
So, Jimmy Cliff, it's a great song. This is definitely about changing your attitude, changing your thoughts. But as far as like depression and unhappiness goes, it is true. It is something that your state of mind is a very powerful thing. You can walk out into a bright and sunny day, and if your mind is full of worry and doubt and pain and maybe even some grief, it'll be hard to see how beautiful it is out there, right? So it's best to try to find a new thought. So. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Bright, yeah, bright, sunshiny day. Oh, yes, I can make it now, the pain is gone. 'Cause all of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue, blue sky, yeah. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue, 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 blue sky. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue, blue sky, yeah. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Come on, it's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
All right, Fred.
There you go.
All right. Now, you know, put your guitar down and put on his speaker hat.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever
This
you
one?
want to do. Whatever. No, you don't have to put on your hat. Whatever you want to do.
I put on a hat.
All right.
That's our tradition in my family, I guess. So.
Well, wear more than one hat?
Right, there you go. There's a little handout I have for whoever showed up. So,
I hope you have enough.
oh yeah, there's enough. I always print out 10 just I guess
I'll
because
hand them out.
I'm optimistic.
There you go.
So this was, you know, like I always say, it's more about infotainment. I am no expert on the Tao, but it is something that I am very fascinated with, and obviously I share as much as I can with you about the things I run across in my study of philosophy and spirituality, partly because coming from a religious background, my father being a pastor, it's always been in my family. I guess when I was younger, he was more of a secular individual, but soon after the divorce, he got very, very religious after my mom and dad got divorced, and he's been very religious for that's been 30, 40 years. So I got involved with the church when I was in my teens, the evangelical movement. To my surprise, they gathered enough money the last couple of years to build it's the same organization to build a church over there across from the college called the Potter's House. That's the exact same Foursquare denomination, post 33 decades, I guess. It actually shocked my dad because that was not part of the, I guess you'd say, the founding ideas of their Foursquare Gospel Church. They would rent, always rent, never buy. Because what the whole idea in the evangelical movement is to get bigger, 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 bigger. And buying a building is anathema to that because it locks you into a little place. It locks you into a size and to a place. And so it's always movement, always proselytizing and growing the flock and saving the world and all this. So even everything changes. And what was funny is in a conversation with my dad about why he left that organization about, 15 years ago, wasn't about the ideology. It was the fact that he was the pastor and they required, there's a political organization there, and they require a certain level of income and a certain amount of influence for them to decide that they'll take you on as a full-time pastor and pay your salary. Usually what you have to do is you got to go out there and be a working pastor, you and your wife. So you go out there, you get a job, you rent a space, you create a congregation. You got to show the fruit of your labor, right? And then when they think you've got enough going on, they'll actually give you the money so you can sit down and be a full-time pastor. And after 20-something years and 3 or 4 churches that he founded, they never gave that to him. So the reason he actually left that organization wasn't because of ideology, it was because of money. Which is pretty funny how, which kind of comes back to kind of what we're talking about here as far as philosophy and religion and personal beliefs and things of that nature. We are, as human beings, a lot of our emotions control everything. A lot more than we think. We may believe that we're this aesthetic person or we're on this aesthetic path or whatever, but a lot of your emotions, your life, your decisions aren't based on what you think you're thinking, but on reactions to situations that over time plant little seeds in you.
Course says that you're never upset for the reason you
think you are. Exactly. And that kind of comes to this transmutive ideas that I kind of find here in the 5 Taoist elements. This is a 10,000 feet view looking down, you know what I mean? We can see the structure. If you really want to get into it, I think Susan is definitely schooled in Chinese Taoist philosophy, in the sense that a lot of the Taoist philosophy of the 5 elements and yin and yang end up in what's called traditional Chinese medicine. So in their philosophy, in the Taoist philosophy, the idea of yin and yang didn't just apply to the inner man, but it also applies to the outer man. And it also applies to the outer world that we live in. Little kind of a similar idea that the Greeks started understanding, and that man was made up of what? 4 elements, right? Fire, earth, water, and air, right? That was the Greek ideal of our physical universe. Well, the Chinese, and their observation and many observations over the years, especially in the Taoist or the I guess say the aesthetic tradition, they saw 5 elements: earth, fire, water, metal, and wood. And if you look on the second page, there is a kind of an idea, circular idea of what we would call what I call the transmutation or the correlation of the elements. and a little bit about the yin and yang as far as like what one is and how one is negated by the other, right? So one creates the other. So what they saw in life, or in the observable world, I guess, over time, is that when you start, let's start with water, rain causes plants to grow and causes everything to grow. And what that creates is wood. And everything in this world, I guess you could say, is something, wood can be, is what kind of feeds us. It gives us houses, it gives us shade, it gives us oxygen, it gives us everything around us, right? So what they also notice is when the wood would get burned by fire, wood would be gone. And if you see it, have you ever been anywhere near an intense fire, after an intense fire, what you see is the fire literally melts everything, including the sand. And it's kind of interesting to think in those days, after seeing mass fires, they discovered molten metals that were fused together in the sand. Okay, so that's how metal was created by fire. And then they realized that you could create iron, copper, right? The entire Bronze Age, the entire Iron Age, even our modern age is one of metal. We may think of technology and everything as kind of like the new idea, and I guess you could say the age of silicon, but once again, silicon is sand. Germanium and all the little things that make up a microprocessor are made out of the very elements of our earth. Cobalt and silver and gold, and all these metals are put together to create the brains that are inside these computers, this technology that's sitting in to Susan and all that. So there's another way of looking at fire. What they also saw is when metals are created, you see water condense on them because they're a solid surface. And that is true. And they actually use that type of condensation and reverse osmosis as you basically take pieces of metal, charge them with a negative charge, and run salt water through them. What happens is that the salt and all the minerals are attracted to the metal, and the water passes through. So there's a lot of really cool things when you kind of start thinking about this. And so that starts the process all over again, right? So we got metal, earth, wood, fire, metal, earth, wood, fire. And each one has a successive correlation of creation. And each one also has a negation, right? We know that, what does water do when it meets fire? Right? What happens when wood meets earth? These type of things. These are the overcoming reactions, right? Wood and earth, metal and fire, earth and water. And it gets to a point where everything has a universal check and balance in the Taoist 5 elements. It's not just 4 things, it's 5 things that each balance out each other. I.e., water nourishes, fire destroys. Right? So, and this is not, and the thing that I find is, especially coming from Generation X, we were raised in a really black and white world and the age of also positivity. I think the 80s and the 90s, and it kind of coalesced in the aughts with The Secret and all this, the power of thinking, the power of positive thought, Norman Vincent Peale and all this stuff was really big in the culture. It's interesting when they look back on, there are already, historians are looking back on people's journals from the 80s and reading how different our ideas were about the world compared to now. So things change over time, right? And so back in the day when we were looking at this whole idea and what we call the law of attraction and that stuff that we embrace here in New Thought, it is also one of those things that has a negative or a push and a pull. That's one thing that I want to emphasize here, is that nothing in Chinese philosophy is quote unquote bad. It either is something that is a yin or a yang. It's either something that is pushing or something that is pulling. It's either something that is creating or it's something that is destroying. All of it is a cycle, but we're taught here in the Western world that destruction and negativity and disharmony and all these other are bad. You know, just like what she was talking about, that feeling unhappy is a bad thing, that you should never feel unhappy. You should always feel grateful, and you should just be kissing the ground, going, oh my God, every time you wake up, how beautiful this earth is. Well, that is not true. And to live in that sort of dichotomous conflict, I think, is what causes a lot of cultural schizophrenia that we have in our society, especially here in the United States, which I call the disassociation between facts and reality. It's where my opinion, because it's my opinion, and there's a group of people sitting around me, therefore we are right. And you've got that on all sides right now, where opinion is more important than fact. And that, I think, is a result of all this positive thinking and this entire culture of narcissism, which really is what it is. It's totally narcissistic.
Unrealistic expectations.
It is. I mean, for you to think that you could just create this vision board and put all these things up there and then the world and everything's going to go your way is the most narcissistic, self-centered spirituality that I've ever seen. I mean, it is on par with people whipping themselves with whips and chains to prove how holy they are. It's just the opposite side of that. I mean, the truth is, life doesn't work that way. I mean, you can believe all you want. You can have your opinions. Life's going to check you every time. Life's going to challenge those opinions, going to challenge your reality, going to challenge where you're at. And that's why looking at everything as a one is a lot better than living in a bipolar, dichotomous, dualistic, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong nature. And that's what you see if you dig a little bit into Chinese philosophy, is that's not anything. They found along 2,000 years ago that there's no value in that. There's no value in society like that. Now, it is good for kings and rulers, right? And what's the job of a king and a ruler, right? Is to provide for the people. So you have to set up institutions. Yes, you do have to set up laws, and yes, you do have to set up consequences for aberrant or abhorrent behavior, because we are monkeys, right? We're all monkeys. And left to our own devices, you know, I'm sure that society would devolve without boundaries and squares. But the truth is, it's all one. There is no real bad and there is no real good. There's just the push and the pull. There's the moon and there's the sun. There is night, there is day, there is sleep, there is being awake. There is death and there is life. And death is not bad. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to deal with here in Western society and our Western philosophy, is thinking death is this something to fear. There's going to be some great judgment and some unknown factor that you don't know, and there's a big boogeyman in the sky, and then he's got his son that he killed, and that kid, that guy, he took all the shit for you. So, you know, don't worry, just as long as you know him or know that other God, or you know what I mean? It's all this setup, which still seems to me nothing but dualism, right? When there is nothing but one reality, this world, our world, one love, one religion, one life, one death for all of us. So that's what I kind of see here. There's a lot in here. If you go into I'll just read all this. Let's read from here. Here we find a universal method of checks and balances. Water promotes the existence of wood, which promotes fire, which burns things to the earth. In the earth, we then find metals, which through condensation and coagulation promote the formation of water. However, water douses or controls fire, which melts and controls metal, which cuts and controls wood, which plows and controls earth, which soaks up and controls water, and everything begins again. Harmony in this life requires checks and balances. If any one element becomes too strong or too weak, imbalance occurs, illness sets in, harmony is lost. While these similar observations were noted in the external world, the Taoists, like the yogis of India, associated these elements with everything experienced in life. Harmony in our internal world requires checks and balances as well in the external world. Physically, we suffer as there's too much fire in our body or too little water. In other words, being dehydrated or having a fever. Health requires the 5 elements to be balanced. The 5 elements became associated with the 5 directions, the 5 primary colors, the 5 different bodily tissues, the 5 different fluids that come from the body, the 5 different solid organs, and the 5 hollow organs, i.e. lungs, things of that nature. As seen in the table, the elements are associated also with emotions. The table's on the 2nd page. These are 7 emotions in the Taoist model: joy, fright, worry, sadness, grief, fear, and anger. Any excess in any of these emotions causes imbalance and can be harmful to you. And this seems very strange to our Western sensibilities, i.e. the dualism that we live in, right? Either you're happy or you're sad, or you're in love or you hate somebody, or, i.e. So you can take this and you can cross-reference it. This is it doesn't go right to left, it just goes up and down. So you see like wood is east, fire is south. What I think is interesting is a long time ago they understood the concept of center, earth is center, where it took, as far as numerology is concerned, it took the Arabic people in Andalusia to see the concept of 0 finally. But here you see the idea that center is a direction. Metal, west, north, water, right? So you have all the colors. So it's really interesting when you get into this, and you can see how this could really get deep, real fast. And you could probably spend your entire life trying to study these models that they've created. So anyway, but in the Taoist model, an excess of joy can just be as harmful to our spirit as an excess of anger. The excessive joy referred to here may be best seen like in youthful exuberance or a mob crowd or something of that excess, or what I've seen in certain religious activities where people get into this speaking in tongues and dancing with snakes and walking on fire and all this other stuff that you see all across the world. Anyway, their joy creates a disturbance all around them and with themselves too. Joy is defined here as not deep bliss or happiness, but just the feeling of this over like emotions flowing over a feeling, I guess you could say. Strong emotional states are often triggered by imbalance in or dysfunction of your organs. When the checks and balances are not working, illness will arise. If the water function of the kidneys is impaired, the fire in the heart will be out of control, allowing fire to attack the metal of the lungs. Asthma and grief can result. A Chinese doctor may not look to a respiratory remedy for the asthma, but rather prescribe tonics for your kidney to cure the condition. So they treat opposites to help you. This is a very simplistic view of the Taoist model. We've only just scratched the surface. There are many excellent texts that would get into it more fully. And all of this comes back to yin and yang theory, okay? So every one of these elements have a yin and a yang component. Something that's pushing and something that's pulling. So when you look at yin and yang, they have 4 basic models of it. Opposition, when you're looking at the symbol. right? You can see how black seems to be in opposition to white, right? Interdependence, you can see how they both have to flow together, the light and the dark, to be one, right? Mutual consumption, as you look at the model, you can see how the tail of one is followed by the head of the other. And intertransformation. In the symbol of yin and yang, you see the circle of the opposite. You see a little piece of yin inside the yang, and you see a piece of yang inside the yin. And they both cannot exist without each other. And that's the beauty of this symbol, is they can't exist without each other. You can't have life without death. Therefore, in Chinese medicine, all parts contribute to the whole. Yin and yang is all about understanding one thing's relation to another. All things have some amount of yin and yang within them. So you might see that the relationship between yin and yang and its 5 elements are a mirror to our existence, even up to our observable experience, what we may call science. The 5 exist in the one as characteristics that influence the interplay within the Tao. The Tao is everything, and everything is it. So I have a few notes here. So when you're looking, I guess, you know, we just use the black and white as color symbols that kind of represent in the Tao. And here I have it in red and black because I like the color red. But like you could take, in general, yin is considered the darker side and yang the white side, okay? So in general, when you're looking at the dark side of the symbol, the yin, you're looking at the moon, you're looking at the night, you're looking at things that are cool, you're looking at things that are passive, not reactive. You're looking at things that depend upon other things. You're looking at the female. You're looking at the pull. When you look at the black side of it. When you're looking at the yang side, it's associated with the sun, right? White and the sun. It's associated with light, it's associated with warmth, associated with fire, it's associated with aggression, it's associated with independence instead of dependence. It's associated with self-sufficiency instead of sharing. It's associated with pushing instead of pulling. So I try to get away from this negative and positive ideas. Think of it as pushing and pulling. Think about potential, right? And action. Think about the North Pole and the South Pole. It's just a, you know, do you really know where north is? Unless you have a compass and you've got great spatial awareness? No. But if you grab a compass, that magnets immediately tell you, because one opposes the other. You take 2 magnets, a north and a south pole of a magnet, try to put them together, they push each other away. You take 2, the north and north, and they push each other together. So we're talking about push and pull. So it's a different idea. So how does this kind of apply to me or in my life? I kind of look at it. One of the things I've been dealing with a lot over the years, mostly lately, probably the last 5 to 10 years, is grief, or a feeling of grief, and turning and facing a lot of the depressive and anger issues I've had in my life in the past 10 years. In that, it's been a personal journey to understand that sometimes what you feel and what is real is a conflict. And that conflict is actually what causes your unhappiness. It's what you think should be there, what you expect to be there, expectations versus realization, and what you were programmed to feel, and it's not there. So it's something that I've had to turn and start facing. But one of the things that I've learned more recently about grief is that it comes from the same source of, I guess you'd say the same push. It feels like a pull, but it's a push. And the best way I can describe it is there's this man, a man named Jamie Anderson. He wrote a poem, and it says, "Grief, I've learned, is really just love. It's all the love you want to give, but can't. It's unspent love that gathers in your eyes and makes a lump in your throat. Grief is just love that has no place to go." So, something to remember when you're feeling those things, as it's coming from a good place, not a bad place. And what you feel is a push, sometimes is a pull. Just trying to get you back. So it really speaks to me that, a lot of it comes back to love. And if it's hurting, it's not a bad thing. It's something you have to experience, you have to feel, you have to let it push you, and then pull you back into that right place. So that's all I really got.
Thank you, Fred.
Something that you said reminded me of what Mike Rose says. And he has a lot of these little quips that I really like, but the one that I thought of when he said it was, just because talking about groups and people who think differently than we do, but because there's a lot of them, they push their opinion on you.
Right.
But Mike says, just because you're right doesn't make me wrong. And I really, really like that, because I'm not doubting that you're right, it's just not the way I believe, the way I think.
It's just
So
not your truth.
thank you for understanding that,
Right, and that is the truth. I mean, we spend our lives, because I think genetically we're programmed, and then culturally we're also programmed, but definitely genetically we're programmed for fight or flight. We spent 20, 30,000 years with really brief, brutal, short lives. And, everything out there was trying to kill us. And we had to kill things just to survive.
Not just to eat, but
To survive. And that has a long-term effect on us genetically. Now that we live in a very egalitarian, or what we're trying to make an egalitarian, what I call a specialist culture, where everybody has little specialties. Nobody's just the hunter-gatherer, or just, now we have people that just do specific things so that you can make money. And then we have farmers that create the food, and we have people that, husbandry people that create the meat, and everything has a special little niche. We have soldiers that go fight the war, we have politicians that talk the crap and make the compromises, and and do the bartering between the various factions in our societies, right? That's the truth. It is ever so clear when you come into conflict and you walk into a war zone, how stark and how, I guess you would want to say, how gray everything is, but how black and white survival is.
What's really important versus
Right.
what is
What is
extraneous.
Extraneous. One of the, in combat school, this old guy, I was lucky enough to have some training from some guys that were still actively living with the Vietnam experience, and serving in the country, still serving in the United States Armed Forces. And one of these old guys, and I'll never forget it, he was probably by that time in his 40s, 45, I was 22, and he's talking to us all about, the things you can experience in combat. And he said, I'm going to tell you one thing. You cannot stop a man that is starving to death. That man is starving for food and his family is starving, he will do anything to kill you and take from you. Do not underestimate a starving, hungry man. And that's what you're going to see in combat. And it's a stark reality, you know what I mean? To realize that when you're there, everything is off the table, and everything comes down to survival. And so there are still people experiencing that to this day, unfortunately.
It's one of the lessons that is available to us on this plane of existence.
Yeah.
It's just one of many,
One of
many,
many.
many.
And it's one to remind us that, you know, those feelings sometimes aren't what you think they are, you know? You want to run when you should stay, and you want to stay when you should run. It's a push and it's a pull. And all of life is like that. So.
That's why it's so important to just get quiet every single day. Spend some time in quiet solitude, because then you can hear what maybe if you're willing, you want to hear, you'll hear your directions.
Right.
You'll be guided.
Yeah, instead of looking at the clouds, you'll look at the sun shining behind the clouds, right? I mean, it's looking at the one instead of the many, looking at the one instead of the dual, right? So.
Well, thank you, Fred. We appreciate it.
So Fred,
Yeah,
do you have this available on PDF?
probably I could make a PDF.
Well, it'd be really cool because I'm gonna hang this where I can see it every day.
Right?
That particular chart, because that's gonna show me some relationships that I don't normally make.
I can see that.
And if you can, you know, attach a PDF with your talk here, maybe you get with Ron,
Okay.
so that
Well,
that's
we
a,
just drove the screen longer so people can, when they're looking on YouTube, they can actually.
It's hard to see it, yeah, it's reversed.
we got bad lighting
We got
or
in the
something.
mirror.
But then there's this other one too that's probably easier to see,
Yeah,
because it's got colors.
yeah.
But that shows the relationships as they develop,
And
so.
yeah, how one pushes the other,
Uh-huh,
and then how one negates the other.
uh-huh. Well, that'd be really great if you
Well,
could.
and that's the thing, that's the language is important, right? And I keep saying the word negative and positive, and I should just strip that out of my language, but how one counteracts the other is a better way of looking at, one acts on and one counter affects one, right? It kind of goes back to the first principle of thermodynamics, is an object in motion will continue in motion unless acted upon by an equal opposing force, right? In other words, entropy, right? So everything in this world is moving until something pushes against it and slows it down. And that actually is the Einstein's theory of relativity, believe it or not, with gravity as the pulling force.
Actually, everything is in motion.
Yeah.
Everything is,
Everything.
well, whether we realize it or not, this table has atoms and molecules in it that are in motion,
Yep.
but then.
You just can't see it.
You can't see it, so.
And this whole planet's in motion, and our solar system is in motion, and the Milky Way is in motion. So we literally, every moment, are not in the place we were
A second ago.
a second ago. That kind of quantum stuff just blows your mind. I mean, there's something really cool. If you go on YouTube, you can subscribe to Star Talk by Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
Oh, yeah.
He's got a little YouTube channel. It's been going on for about 2 or 3 years. There's a comedian that sits with him. I can't remember the guy's name. And then they bring on panel and they talk about quantum physics, and you cannot help when you are on that discussion to slip into philosophy. So there's people of great minds that come and visit his show, and they talk about everything from cosmic ideas, and just like this one lady that was just recently on there, they were talking about how literally with the models of the universe, our entire universe could be one electron in a larger universe.
Cool.
Yeah, boom.
The Big Bang.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Star
All right.
Talk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, highly recommend it.
All right, well, that's great. Thank you, Fred.
Thanks, Fred. You always give us something to study, you know?
Something different.
Mhm.
So, now Fred gets to sing us a song.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do this one. This is with a little help, huh?
All right. Cool friends.
Well, what would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand and walk out on me? Lend me your ear and I'll sing you a song. I'll try not to sing it out of key. Whoa, I get by with a little help from my friend. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friend. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friend. Well, what did you do when your love was away? Does it worry you to be all on your own? How do you feel at the end of the day? Are you sad cause you're all on your own? Well, I get by with a little help from my friend. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friend. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friend. Do you need anybody? I just need someone to love. Could it be anybody? I just want someone to love. Oh, I just want someone to love. By with a little help from my friend. Yeah, yeah, I get high with a little help from my friends. Hey, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friend. Will you believe at love at first sight? Yes, I'm certain it comes all the time. What do you see when you turn out the light? I can't tell you, but I know that it's mine. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help with my friends. Oh, thank you, friends. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends.
All right. Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome.
Wonderful music.
So Ringo Starr.
Yeah. So now, let's have our celebration of abundance. So let us put over our heart that which we intend to contribute, and repeat after me. divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive through infinity. I am prosperous. Money, money, money. Money.
Hey Fred,
Hey.
can I get a copy of, or get you to do that thing, of that little, poem that you read?
Oh, grief?
Uh-huh,
Yeah, Jamie Anderson.
okay,
I will, I'll send it to you.
okay.
Grief is just love with no place to go.
Yeah, that's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Jeannie is looking for that blue container.
I know she texted me.
Can you say something about it here?
No.
Okay, so today we do not have any children here to come and report. And we've made our announcements, so we have been, I think, we now think that we have our skunk situation under control.
Yeah.
Done a bunch of work out there, and we spent a little money and reinforced our defenses, and we think that we probably have.
Well, I've seen them trying to dig and they don't
They
go
didn't.
anywhere.
They didn't get in
They
there.
don't like the gravel, because the gravel falls back on them.
Well, I'm sure, probably the gravel hurts their little
You
paws.
see where they're like digging and then they just stop.
They're like, WTF?
They're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, well,
I did notice that they ended it, they put the gutters up too.
yeah, well, so that it doesn't wash away what we put in. But
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna just have to get some flat river stone and kind of make a little path, cause it's,
Right, or I can just get some flat rocks, just.
yeah, flat rocks, yeah, a little
rocks.
flat river stone, I'm gonna go look for
He
some.
had actually talked about getting an extension on there, which he couldn't find in town here, but there's a thing that sets up like this, and when the rain runs, it goes.
Oh, it
out-
flops down
goes
like
right
that?
out there.
Rolls
Yeah.
out, yeah.
Yeah, so, cause that's the only thing I saw is, cause there's enough gravel where we could actually make a little path for the water kind of flow.
So there's a couple of things we can
Yeah,
do.
it ain't gonna be much, but.
Like it rains so much around here.
Right.
But the problem is when it does rain, sometimes it
Gully wash.
hits us hard, you know, and I imagine we're gonna get a couple of those, so we'll have to see. And I'll just come by and watch it, maintain it, we may have to add a little bit more.
Well, and like I said, I don't.
Next
mind
year or
picking up a
something.
few of the flat bricks, you know, they make the 12-inch flat bricks for like $4 a piece, and 4 or 5 of those would take it on the way if we
Yeah.
didn't wash the gravel away.
Yeah, that's the only part that we need to just reinforce, or just get some,
Yeah.
I think I'll just go get some river stone from the river and put it in the back of my Jeep, and I'll go out there and just lay it down, so it looks like a little.
Well, thank you for doing that, though, it looks great back there, and I'm hoping that, like you said, they won't like the gravel as well as they like the dirt.
Yeah,
They-
we'll
dirt
really know in
stays
the
where they
winter.
push it, and the gravel does.
Yeah, I think we'll really know it in the winter.
Yeah.
Cause it seems that's when we have the problem the most, is when they're trying to find some.
place warm in out of the weather.
Place to hibernate.
And I think the neighbor says he thinks the family of skunks are coming from that guy's property across the street.
Oh, yeah, the vacant property that's sitting over there.
That the guy won't put he wants to sell it, but he won't hire a realtor.
No.
It's like, come on,
Well,
so
even
now
if
what's
that
the matter
river's
with you?
not gonna sell, I'm sure everything in that house is obsolete.
Well, it's
The
an
wiring, the
old,
plumbing,
yeah.
the roofing, everything.
It's got real narrow. I had a friend of mine, when they got out of high school, a bunch of friends rented that place. They were younger
That was
friends,
not long
obviously,
ago.
but, no, they were younger friends. It's like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They rented both of them.
Well, it's a cute property, I mean, it's really neat, but I imagine that house, I'm not sure you could get utilities turned on in it.
I don't know. Yeah, right, because the gas situation. But Steve could fix that.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, let's circle up and, so you got your,
I do somewhere here. I can figure out how to do it. Oh, I gotta click that.
Oh, we didn't have any kids today, I forgot to tell you.
We're just gonna do this one in
all right,
privacy.
All right, so here we go. Now to turn this around, somewhere down. There we go. All right.
Show off.
1, 2, 3. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together in unity, and yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, family all are we. So let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
May God bless you and keep you until we meet again.
Amen. So,
Thank you.
thanks, Ron.
Woohoo! Huggy huggies.
Hey, thanks.
Huggy huggies.
Hey, friend.
Well, we hope you had a good time and come back and see us. We'll be back
excited
next
for
week,
this trip?
same time, same
I'm
place.
getting excited, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Did you make arrangements for advertising for your yard sale?